all.
Wait a minute. You mean it's over? That's it? Well, anyway, congratulations to all of the winners for this year's award show. And to you, the viewers, thank you for tuning in. It was my pleasure to be your host for this evening. But before we go, here to close out this lovely evening, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have a special closeout performance. Good night, Bahamas, and we'll see you next year.
Yeah. It's all about togetherness. And it's all about taking the culture all the way, taking the music all the way. It's a new single. Let's go! All the way. When the gods give drum, speaking in tongues, and the cowbells start ringing around. All the way. We gon' reconstruct till morning come. Watch it! I remember when the goats in drum start licking bay in December. Yes, I remember when the records scrape bring all the islands together. We down in the bay, we having some fun. We keeping the vibes alive, yeah. We raking and scraping, we sculling the boat, we waving the hands. Where we going? We going all the way. When the gods beat drum, speaking in tongues, and the cowbells start ringing around. All the way. We gon' reconstruct till morning come. I remember when we used to go Illutra down in October. Yes, I remember. Best of the best, Montague in December. We down in the bay, we having some fun. We keeping the vibes alive, yeah. We raking and scraping, we sculling the boat, we waving the hands. We going all the way. When the gods get drum, speaking in tongues, and the cowbells start ringing around. All the way. We gon' reconstruct till morning come. Let's go! We sculling the boat. We sculling. Watch me rake and scrape and mash up the road. Rake and scrape and sculling. We sculling the boat. We sculling. Watch me rake and scrape and mash up the road. Rake and. It's the rake and scrape for me. One people in unity. Happy times to remember. When we sculling and we raking and we scraping, we going all the way. When the gods get drum, speaking in tongues, and the cowbells start ringing around. All the way. We gon' rake and scrape till morning come. We down in the bay, we having some. We keeping the vibes alive, yeah. We raking and scrape, we sculling the boat. We waving beyond. Wave. Yeah. It's your boy Shine, can I go? Peace and love.
Thank you for tuning in to the 2021 National Youth Award, courtesy of the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Culture by the Division of Youth.
You're watching the ZNS Network, the People's Station.
Coming up in the news, the nation's leader telling United Nations colleagues less promises and more action needed to tackle climate change as the Bahamas continues to be impacted. Also, the Minister for Grand Bahama talks about the challenges that exist on Grand Bahama during her first contribution. And police officials warning that there is an uptick in stolen vehicles, but hear how motorists are making it easy for the thieves. The Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition, starts now.
This is the Bahamas Tonight, Northern Edition.
Good evening, Bahamas. I'm Shoshana Rule Parkinson. As always, it is so great to have you with us. Topping news this evening, Prime Minister the Honorable Philip Davis addressing the COP26 climate change conference in Scotland today. The nation's leader telling the world that time is running out on the issue of climate change and that the Bahamas is at the mercy of the action or inaction of developed countries. The nation's leader, Prime Minister the Honorable Philip Davis, telling United Nations colleagues that they must do their part to ensure that the COP26 gathering succeeds in a way that the prior 25 did not. This as he gave a compelling account of how climate change has and continues to impact this country.
We in the Bahamas will do what we can, but the limits of our nation's effort can accomplish our task. We cannot outrun your carbon emissions. We cannot outrun the hurricanes, which are growing more powerful. And we cannot outrun rising sea levels as our islands disappear beneath the seas.
Using Hurricane Dorian as an example of climate change, Davis bravely admitted that it is still unknown how many persons died as a result of the catastrophic storm, adding that even now some people still tremble at the sound of rain. He says more must be done because change is urgently needed.
But today we can still do something. As I said to the General Assembly of the United Nations in September, you will only be safe when we are all safe. We are out of time, colleagues. A recent study declared that the Bahamas had the cleanest air in the world. Other studies have shown that our distinctive, beautiful aquamarine seas are a magnificent carbon sink.
The nation's leader also making it clear that the Bahamas has now or ever been the problem of climate change, but we are forced to pay the price. He says promises are easy, but action at this point is required.
Action, specific concrete policy changes, is a lot harder. Action requires courage. Every leader before us has postponed until tomorrow what needed to happen yesterday. And now tomorrow is here today, and countries like mine are out of time. Your support by financing and technology transfer are needed urgently so we can rebuild for resilience.
The Prime Minister also shares what happens without action or change.
If we are lucky, we will become refugees. Without change, if we are unlucky, then we will be left to the mercy of future Hurricane Dorians. More of my people will die. More will be left traumatized and homeless. People will be forced to flee, but flee to where?
So what is needed? Davis says support through financing and technology transfer. He wrapped up with this impassioned plea.
Please, do what is needed, not what you can get away with. Turn promises and agreements into action. Don't hide behind buzzwords and hazy assurances. Don't let the failures of the past limit our ambition for the present. Have the courage to acknowledge that failure today will lead directly to destruction for humanity tomorrow.
Meantime, a local environmentalist lending support to the Prime Minister's plea for help, calling on world leaders at the conference to act in the interest of small island developing states. She says leaders must deal with the issue of climate change before it's too late. Italia Hall picks up the story.
The COP26 Climate Change Conference is underway in Glasgow, Scotland. The conference attracting many leaders from across the world. Among those leaders, Prime Minister the Honorable Philip Davis. The Prime Minister making his contribution on Tuesday, noting that time is of the essence as it relates to climate change. Environmentalist Gail Wone agrees. She says the Bahamas must make a strong case as the country cannot experience another catastrophic hurricane.
We can't do another 3 days of 25-foot high storm surges that wipe away settlements and buildings and carry away people. We just can't do it. So the Bahamian leaders plus all of the world's global leaders have to come together, and we don't have any more time. They've said it's code red. Code red is the highest warning, and if we don't cut fossil fuel emissions by 50% or more by 2030, we won't be able to stop the temperatures from rising.
She says every Bahamian has a role to play as well and should pay attention to the possible effects of climate change.
One of the big things that our country and everyone in it should be aware of is that climate change causes sea level rise. Sea level rise is going to be catastrophic for the Bahamas because we're one of the top 10 countries to be the first to go underwater when the sea levels rise. Also, Miami is going to disappear under the water. So we really need to hope and pray that those world leaders do what they're supposed to do at COP26 because our country's at stake.
And if business continues as usual, she says it will have a catastrophic impact on the country. She believes there are steps that individuals can take to reduce the risk of climate change.
You can drive less. You can maybe invest in an electric car. I have a friend who's driving one now in Freeport. And definitely cut your fossil fuel use. So if you can minimize your electricity that you use in your home, maybe change the thermostat on your air conditioner, maybe have a switch on your hot water heater so you only turn it on when you need to use hot water. Don't have it hot all the time.
Italia Hall, ZNS Network News.
The Minister for Grand Bahama and Member of Parliament for Pine Ridge, the Honorable Ginger Moxie, making her first contribution in Parliament on Monday. The minister sharing some of the challenges that exist on Grand Bahama and says the government is fully committed to bringing new life to the nation's second city. Here again is Italia Hall.
Minister for Grand Bahama, the Honorable Ginger Moxie, making her inaugural contribution in the House of Assembly on Monday afternoon. Moxie noting some of the many challenges that Grand Bahama is currently facing. Moxie says she is aware of the work that needs to be done to recover, rebuild, and revolutionize the island and economy.
I pledge to do the people's business and to utilize every resource at my disposal to get the job done. Deputy Speaker, I believe in partnerships for development, and in order to truly move Grand Bahama forward, this will be the philosophy by which I serve. These partnerships, a collaborative effort, calls for unity, as we are all in this together.
As it relates to tourism on Grand Bahama, she says the Minister of Tourism and Aviation is committed to finding a solution for the Grand Lucine Resort, and knows that under her watch, downtown Freeport will come alive again.
It will come alive to bring real culture into the city. It will allow immersive, authentic experiences that tell the Bahamian story. The farmers market will offer products that makes tourists want to come. All stalls will become opened to offer Bahamian food and products.
Minister Moxie says the government pledges to expedite the development of an international airport on Grand Bahama through a public-private partnership.
This is welcome news for the people of Grand Bahama, as we have not had a fully functioning airport since the passage of Hurricane Dorian. The people are looking forward to a redevelopment airport with our much-needed pre-clearance facilities. As you honorable members have all heard, the member for the Exomus and Ragged Island has assured us that this is a priority under his portfolio.
Additionally, the Minister of Grand Bahama assures that the government is committed to providing a new hospital on the island. And as for the maritime industry,
in the maritime industry, Bahamian entrepreneur and Pine Ridge businessman Mr. Albert Hepburn is doing something amazing. He has created a maritime training institute to introduce the world of maritime to the young people of Grand Bahama. I applaud Mr. Hepburn for this exciting initiative and have partnered with him for a program called Maritime 101. Deputy Speaker, while I am on the topic of maritime, I beg leave to congratulate Coral Vida, a Grand Bahama enterprise, on winning Earthshot Prize, a global climate change project established by the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge.
It was also announced that a new sporting facility and shelter will be constructed,
which will not only service local athletes, but will attract and house world-class events. It will be a new day for sports and for tourism on our island.
The Minister for Grand Bahama says this northern island is experiencing tremendous economic challenges. Nevertheless, the Davis administration will put the Bahamas back on the right track by executing goals and putting Bahamians first. It's Talia Hall, ZNS Network News.
Thank you, Tally. Switching gears now, the Bahamas Agricultural Health and Food Safety Authority issuing an update on an international onion recall. The release is a follow-up to an ongoing trace-back investigation regarding a multi-state outbreak of Salmonella aureus bird infections linked to whole fresh onions distributed throughout the United States. Leading the investigations are the FDA and CDC that have identified 2 suppliers linked to the affected onions, which were imported from the state of Chihuahua, Mexico. Now, most persons who show symptoms of a salmonella infection develop diarrhea, fever, and abdominal cramps. More severe cases may include a high fever, aches, headaches, a rash, blood in the urine or stool, and in some cases may be fatal. If you or anyone in your family becomes ill as a result of consuming any potentially contaminated onions, you must contact the nearest health professional and inform the Ministry of Health Surveillance Unit. Now, from the crime beat, police officials are sending a stern warning to motorists on Grand Bahama to become more safety conscious and not facilitate what is called a crime of opportunity, noting that there has been an uptick in stolen vehicles. Police say vehicle owners themselves can turn the situation around. Sergeant 1324 McSayers, attached to the traffic department, says that there is an uptick in car theft on Grand Bahama, but it is mainly due to motorists leaving keys in the vehicles.
During this Yuletide season that's fast approaching, we just want you to be aware that it doesn't make any sense to leave the vehicle running. Persons may walk past, see it running, jump into it, and go for a joyride. And again, they may use it to commit some type of offenses.
He says in the past few weeks, these types of incidents have been reported to the police, adding that the vehicles targeted have been parked at business establishments as well as in residential areas.
We're saying that if persons may just be walking around and see that a vehicle with the keys in it, it may not be on, then again it may be on, they may just jump into it, go for a joyride. Then it puts a extra burden on the police in regards to trying to track down this vehicle, whereas if you assist us where you do not leave the vehicle running, it helps us greatly.
Additionally, Sergeant Sayers confirms that an alleged mental patient was the perpetrator in a recent incident.
That incident, yes, it was where alleged mental patient was walking and noticed that a vehicle was running with the keys in it. The person took the vehicle for a little joyride, and at the end of the day, he brought the vehicle to the police station. So even the mental patient has some aware of what's going on, and at the end of the day, he secured the vehicle at the police headquarters. And I am extremely glad that he did that, because imagine if that was someone else. You know, they could have used that vehicle, like I said, to commit any type of criminal offense.
Now, he says that leaving your keys in your ignition and your car running is also an offense under the Road Traffic Act, and that carries a fine of up to $100. 44 migrants of mixed nationalities handed over to immigration officials on Grand Bahama over the weekend. The migrants were picked up by the U.S. Coast Guard and transported to the Lucaya Harbor. The group comprised of Romanians, Colombians, Ecuadorians, Cubans, Jamaicans, and Haitians. They all had one thing in common, and that was the desire to be smuggled into the United States by boat. There were 3 minors in the group. 2 of them were traveling in the company of their mothers. Yesterday, the group appeared before Magistrate LaQuay Lang and charged with illegal embarkation, to which they pled guilty and were fined $300 each, or in default, serve a custodial sentence of 3 months at the Bahamas Department of Corrections. Now, the fines were paid and the migrants were handed back to immigration to be transported to New Providence to the detention center until arrangements can be made for deportation. That's going to take us to our first break. Stay with us. We'll be back right after this.
Come on down. Come on down now.
If it's all looking the same, yeah, you ain't got to complain, no. You know where to go and you know what to do. You can find it here. You got the best in men's world. Come on, let our friendly stuff out. Hey, come on and shop. See what a squire man's got. Yeah, we got it all for you. Hey, come on and shop. See what a squire man's got. Yeah, we got it all for you. Hey, come on and shop. See what a squire man's got. Yeah, we got it all for you. Hey, come on and shop. See what a squire man's got. Yeah, we got it all for you.
Are you looking for good vibes? In search of great food? Buddy Bucket's Restaurant and Lounge in the R&B and C Plaza is the place where you call the shots. Telephone 828-9188. Head on over and enjoy.
Wishing ZNS Northern Service happy 31st anniversary. The #1 station in the entire world.
Your #1 news team covering the North. The Bahamas Tonight, Northern Edition.
Welcome back. ZNS Northern Service continues to celebrate 31 years of television broadcasting in the Northern Bahamas. This week, ZNS Northern Service will host a number of activities to celebrate the significant milestone. Tonight, we will hear from some of the pioneers in television production here on Grand Bahama, who say 31 years is an amazing accomplishment. Ramiko Knowles reports.
November 1st, 1990 was a red-letter day for the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas. It marked the dawn of a new era as the organization enhanced its service by adding television broadcasting to its network covering the Northern Bahamas. For the state-owned broadcaster, it's been 31 years of informing, educating, producing educational programming, award-winning newscasts, and shows. For Deputy General Manager Darren Meadows and Special Projects Director Philip Marsh, who both have been employed with the corporation since its inception, 31 years is an amazing accomplishment.
I've been there from the start. I know the obstacles that we had. I know from the humble beginnings of the old equipment to now we in full digital.
We've really come a long way. Us being a public broadcast station, I feel that we have filled that mandate to educate, inform, and entertain, and we try to continue to do that.
The annals of ZNS Northern Service are full of rich Bahamian history and stories documenting some of the country's momentous occasions, but there would be no celebration without the contributions of men and women who have played an integral role in its success story, some now deceased and others who are watching their vision unfold.
I would have to pay tribute to Hobie Wilson. He really gave me confidence in what we do. When he came down to see whether or not we were ready to go on air live after a month of training.
There were 2 persons that were really significant in my career, and those persons were Alvin Morris and Colin Trotman.
And after 3 decades of employment in the North, the Deputy General Manager recalls one of his proudest moments. Special Director Philip Marr says it's no longer a job, but it is a part of who he is.
I was chosen to direct Sir Lyndon's funeral. And so that was, you know, some of the proud moments when, you know, you were selected from the rest to say that, hey, we want you to come and do it. And so those were some major moments in my career, and among many, many others.
I never really got exhausted working. Even after 30 years, I feel that I'm still fresh. I feel that I'm still new, because, you know, I'm just really engaged with this career.
They both share their hopes for the future.
When we first came, it was you know, all family, doing things together, coming to work, not worrying about the pay. And over the years, I believe that we've drifted a bit, and so that has been my mission, to try and create that environment.
There's always more to be done. I feel that we can push the envelope a little bit more. As broadcasters, even worldwide, you see people doing more live content.
Both men started in 1990 and are now a huge part of the success story of ZNS Northern Edition.
I really would like to say congratulations to ZNS Northern Service Television.
After 31 years, I'm appreciative of having the ability to contribute to the corporation. I want to extend best wishes to the family here, and we look forward to many more years.
Ramiko Knowles, ZNS Network News.
In other news, the Bahamas National Trust receiving some assistance from a number of organizations on Grand Bahama through a partnership with the Kiwanis Club. A large group gathering at the Rand Nature Center on Saturday to take part in a cleanup effort. BNT Parks Manager Ellsworth Ware says 10 different civic organizations were asked to come on board and provided more details on the initiative.
We have a number of organizations out here, including the Royal Bahamas Defense Force, the Waterkeepers, various Kiwanis clubs, all here assisting us. Even sanitation services came on board to assist with the cleanup and overall maintenance of the Rand Nature Center. Now we're doing this in conjunction with the Kiwanis clubs of the Bahamas for Kiwanis One Day, which occurs once a year, and it's a globally celebrated event where all of the clubs have a signature project that they put on for that day. So this year, the Rand Nature Center was chosen by the Kiwanis Clubs, or the Kiwanis Club of Freeport, as the focal point for this project.
Public Relations Chair for the Kiwanis Club, Janelle Marie, says that she is pleased with the turnout, while President of the organization, Linda Ramming, is encouraging more persons to get involved.
We're super excited about the turnout that we have for Kiwanis One Day. At Kiwanis, we say kids need Kiwanis, and that is important to us as this national park. For many of us, it's the first place that we learned about nature. And for some of us as adults, it's the first time we're actually, seeing a national park and getting to connect with nature. And so at Kiwanis, we believe that children need the outdoors, they need spaces and safe spaces that they can have fun, that they can enjoy themselves.
What we realized today that this is the first project for a lot of the students from our local schools, the rangers, that they come back out in the community physically. And they're so happy to be out in the nature and with their community leaders and help. So COVID, and we have one group that hasn't been doing anything since March 2020. So come out, bring your students, bring your youth organizations, partner with the BNT, partner with the Kiwanis Club, and make a difference with us together.
The Ministry of Youth closing out activities in celebration of Youth Month. A mental health seminar was held this past Friday at the Grand Bahama Resilience Center to address mental issues impacting young people at this time. Clinical Director Felicia McBride conducted the seminar dubbed The Unveil.
I'm excited about this partnership with the Ministry of Youth because here at the Grand Bahama Resilience Center, we seek to promote healthy adaptation and growth in the face of change, challenge, and stress. So this was right up our alley in terms of encouraging young people to normalize conversations surrounding mental health. Invited all of the schools on the island, and we know that we ended up having midterm break. But we were happy that the private schools were able to attend, and we have a person streaming on Facebook as well as on Zoom.
Beijing Roberts, mental health advocate and life coach, taking time out to speak with the group, and she says the response was positive.
Bahamas has gone through a lot in the last 2 years. We've gone through the most devastating hurricane in history, of our history, Hurricane Dorian, and then COVID. That's a lot of stress, a lot of negative emotions that come out of that. And so I have decided, to join forces with huge organizations such as, the Red Cross and now Grand Bahama Resilience Center to help our young people have the tools and coping mechanisms to help them through these tough times as to what is going up here. And so the conversation shall no longer be taboo, and that is what we're doing. That's what we're talking about here. Let's talk about it. Let's start the conversations, because if not, you die away slowly. And our young people are our future. And so we need to invest in them, we need to empower them, and we need to develop them to be the leaders today so they can continue to be better leaders tomorrow.
So that's our Facebook friend of the night. Up next.
Come on down to World's Wholesale on Queens Highway in the Bamboo East Complex, opposite Yeager Funeral Home, where we sell the highest quality hurricane impact windows, doors, metal roofs, and hurricane shutters at the best prices you can find. Third Dimension on Yellow Pine Street introduces its new home improvement center. Step into our brand new fully stocked showroom for the latest in doors, tiles, housewares, kitchenwares, bathwares, vanities, power tools, electrical, and plumbing supplies. So stop by our showroom to view our full range of products or call the Home Advisor hotline at 602-0935 today. We are your home advisors.
Are you tired, overweight, having trouble sticking to your health and fitness goals? Well, look no further. The Fitness Connection has teamed up with Z&S to bring you Health Bites. This and every Thursday, tune in, and we'll make sure you get on track and stay on track with your health and fitness goals. Tune in.
Happy 31st anniversary to Z&S. You're doing a wonderful job. Thank you so much.
Your #1 news team covering the North. The Bahamas Tonight, Northern Edition.
Tatiana Lockhart, you are our Facebook friend of the day. We appreciate your support. And that is going to do it for us here in the North. On behalf of our entire Z&S News team, I'm Shashina Wool-Parkinson. The Bahamas Tonight continues.
Coming up in the Bahamas Tonight, the National Report, a gripping plea for change. Added details of a prison inmate's death. Reports of COVID contract tracers unpaid. And planned NIB structural upgrades. The Bahamas Tonight, the National Report, starts now.
This portion of the news is brought to you by BTC Super Fast Internet for Less. Best rate, no debate. Sign up today.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Akush Lapinder, and welcome to the Bahamas Tonight, the National Report. Prime Minister the Honorable Philip Davis addressed the 26th United Nations Climate Change Conference in Glasgow, Scotland today, telling world leaders that the Bahamas cannot outrun the threat of climate change any more than the world can ignore its broad implications. Making what he calls a plea on behalf of all humanity, the Prime Minister told conference delegates that time is running out, especially for the countries that do little to exacerbate the climate change crisis. Here's Kishla Adderley.
In just under 5 minutes, Prime Minister the Honourable Philip Davis told the world that time is running out on the issue of climate change. Addressing the COP26 Climate Change Conference in Scotland today, the Prime Minister said the Bahamas is subject to the action or inaction of developed countries.
We cannot outrun your carbon emissions. We cannot outrun the hurricanes, which are growing more powerful. And we cannot outrun rising sea levels as our islands disappear beneath the seas. Hurricane Dorian, that monster Category 5 hurricane, which devastated 2 of our main islands, feels like it descended upon us just yesterday. We still don't know exactly how many died, and some people still tremble at the first drop of rain. But every day, our yesterday is already becoming your todays, and fast becoming all of our tomorrows.
Prime Minister Davis said while his plea is deeply personal, literally hitting home, the impact of climate change also has multilateral implications.
Without change, if we are lucky, we will become refugees. Without change, if we are unlucky, then we will be left to the mercy of future Hurricane Dorians. More of my people will die. More will be left traumatized and homeless. People will be forced to flee, but flee to where? These are my neighbors, my family, and friends. My plea is both urgent and deeply personal, and I make it on behalf of all humanity.
Hammering home the results of a quarter of a century of repeated, fruitless COP talks, the Prime Minister appealed to the world's leaders not to continue the status quo.
Are we brave enough for this moment? Are we braver than our predecessors who led our nations at the previous 25 climate change meetings? Can we summon the courage and ingenuity and determination to succeed where they did not? Morally and ethically, it has to be beyond imagination and conscience that we do so little until it becomes too late. Please, do what is needed, not what you can get away with. Turn promises and agreements into action. Don't hide behind buzzwords and hazy assurances. Don't let the failures of the past limit our ambition for the present. Have the courage to acknowledge that failure today will lead directly to destruction for humanity tomorrow.
Prime Minister Davis emphasized the Bahamas is not and has never been the problem, and has asked for financing and technology transfer as the beginning of the solution to saving humanity. Keishla Adderley, ZNS Network News.
Well, ahead of his address, Prime Minister Davis paid a courtesy call on Secretary-General of the Commonwealth, the Right Honourable Patricia Scotland QC. The Commonwealth comprises 54 independent and equal sovereign states. 32 of its members are small states, many of which are island nations. Their work helps to grow economies and boost trade, deliver national resilience, empower young people, and address threats such as climate change, debt, and equality. Well, now that the Food and Drug Administration has approved the COVID vaccine for children, the Bahamas government is already making plans to offer the vaccine to this grouping once available. Carla Palmer has more on that push in this report.
Minister of Health and Wellness, the Honourable Dr. Michael Darville, says the government is working expeditiously to get the specified doses of the Pfizer vaccine in country for children ages 5 to 11 years.
The vaccination committee, along with diplomatic interventions, we're trying to get the vaccine in the country as soon as possible. Our plan is to see whether or not the United States government would assist us in not this tranche that is supposed to be here this week or early next week, but to see if we can have some pediatric doses as part of the large tranche, and hopefully it'll be here before the end of the year. That negotiation is ongoing, and if we have to purchase some pediatric doses, the government is prepared to do it as well.
While it's not required that doctors be at vaccination centers, Darwell says it's possible such a request will be made once the children's vaccine arrives in country.
We have one of the most sophisticated immunization program in the world, and our nurses are the ones who carry the burden, and we believe that they're quite qualified to do it. So we really don't need pediatricians to be in the vaccination centers, but at the same time, as we begin to open up vaccinations, we definitely would like pediatricians in the country to be a part of the vaccination program.
The minister also at the time addressed reports that contact tracers are leaving the system as a result of not being paid.
Well, there is some truth. We have brought on some new contact tracers in the former administration, and we have supplementary budgetary allocations where we will deal with that issue. I've had the opportunity to speak with them and to let them know that the government is working to solve that problem. And they are not the only ones. We plan to bring on additional contact tracers, and so it's important for them to understand that we need to make sure that the budget is there to sort them out. And I appreciate their support, and they have been patient, and they deserve to be paid. And I will do everything in my power to make sure that that is done.
Minister Darville assured that contact tracers are essential to effectively fighting the virus.
As we begin now to roll out our free testing program, testing without contact tracing is like bread without butter. And so both of them go hand in hand, and they are absolutely essential to work to ensure that we know exactly what's going on in the country in real time.
The COVID-19 emergency orders expires on November 13th. However, Minister Darville forewarned that should COVID infections increase, the government will adjust the rules. Carla Palmer, ZNS Network News.
Meantime, new COVID infections and hospitalizations holding the line with the October 31st and November 1st dashboards showing a combined total of 22 in the case of the former. The majority of the newly infected still here in the capital. Based on the latest figures, Mayaguana has picked up another 3 cases. At last count, 71 people were admitted to hospital with the virus, 9 of them fighting for their lives on the intensive care unit. As for active cases, that's at 21,138. Some 22 people recovered on Monday. Meantime, COVID's countrywide death tolls at 643, with another 67 deaths under investigation. Preliminary investigations underway to determine the circumstances surrounding the death of a prisoner. Authorities confirming that the inmate was found dead in his cell Monday morning around 8:30 at the Department of Corrections, Fox Hill. National Security Minister, the Honorable Wayne Monroe, releasing limited information to the media outside Cabinet this morning. Safe to say the victim was around 30 years old, that he was serving a sentence for stealing, and that he was being held in a maximum security cell with others.
I was advised by the acting commissioner, Claire, that the doctor reported to him that there was an inmate who was found unresponsive in his cell. The doctor checked him. He provided a medical report. I can't share the details of that at this time. He pronounced the inmate dead, and he contacted the police and the coroner. And so investigations would be proceeding at this time. Because of the prison population, persons are housed along with other people. You have the number of prison officers. We won't be having a prison officer standing at each cell door watching the folk. So you will have persons, it might be a death by natural causes, it might be a homicide.
Now, according to the minister, the victim was found with some visible signs of injury, but he stopped short of drawing any conclusions.
You will have an autopsy, and the doctor will determine the cause of death. So, for instance, you may see a body that has injury to it. You wouldn't know if that was inflicted by somebody or in a collision with some wall or whatever, but the starting point would be an autopsy that will determine the cause of death. The prison would do an internal investigation, and the police would do an investigation because it would be a sudden death. The prison does their own internal investigation with regard the treatment of the inmate and the systems that are in place. And the police actually do the sudden death investigation for the coroner. The coroner did attempt.
Prison Lane, the scene of another overnight shooting. In this case, officers were en route to the incident when they found that a vehicle had collided into the wall of the police force's East Street headquarters. From all reports, a male exited the vehicle and started running north along East Street. He was captured by officers who soon discovered he had been shot. The male was taken to hospital. At last report, he was in stable condition. Police, meantime, are awaiting the results of an autopsy report to determine the exact cause of death of an apparent drowning victim. We're told officers patrolling the northern coastline fished the unresponsive body of an Asian man from the water shortly after 9 Monday morning. From all reports, the victim's left leg appeared to have been bitten off. He was taken to shore, where EMS personnel examined the body and pronounced it lifeless. Active investigations are underway. The Court of Appeal has overturned the 3-year sentence of 68-year-old Abaco resident Pericles Melis. You may recall Melis was caught with 75 potted marijuana plants, ammunition, assorted firearms, and a jar of suspected marijuana at his Abaco home. He was recently resentenced to the 3-year prison term after prosecutors appealed on the grounds that his sentence, initially a fine of $15,500, was unduly lenient. However, after hearing from both sides, the court, in a majority decision, allowed the appeal and quashed Melis' sentence, substituting a sentence of 1 year on each count. The panel determined that Melis is a senior citizen who pleaded guilty at the earliest opportunity and also expressed remorse for his actions. And remember to tune in to the Morning Edition with LaDawn Davis and Charles Fisher at 7 o'clock weekday mornings. We also have news updates at every hour starting at 2 p.m. You can then watch the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition, at 6:30, and the National Report live at 7 p.m. All right here on the ZNS Network.
This portion of the news was brought to you by Sun Oil Limited Shell, fueling journeys that matter.
You have enough things to worry about. Living in a world that can seem opposite of the things you are trying to accomplish.
I can need a little help with this.
We're here to let you know that you don't have to go at it alone. Choose peace of mind. Choose comfort. Choose CB. Commonwealth Bank, leader in personal banking services.
Across the Bahamas, we're more connected than ever before as we upgrade and expand our network, elevating your connection with BTC Superfast Fiber Internet. More people can access the best high-speed internet on our upgraded all-fiber optic network, providing you with a better experience working remotely, learning virtually, accessing more from home, and connecting with more opportunities. Visit our website or any store to upgrade to our Superfast Fiber Internet experience on the Bahamas' best fiber network.
Since eating at KFC, Trevor became the value hunter. Get a KFC fill-up with 1-piece tender, juicy chicken, a hot buttery biscuit, golden brown fries, and a soda for only $5, including VAT, and save like an expert at KFC. WhatsApp hi to 557-6333 to start your order for pickup at your nearest KFC.
With B.O.B.
This portion of the news was brought to you by McDonald's. McDonald's, I'm loving it.
Minister of National Security and Member of Parliament for Freetown, the Honourable Wayne Monroe, among members of Parliament contributing to a resolution thanking the Governor-General for the speech from the throne. In doing so, he touched on the timely topic of electoral reform.
We intend to seek to reform and revolutionize the electoral process in the Bahamas. We will make the necessary financial, human capital, and organizational reforms through technology to modernize, digitize, and better facilitate voter registration and advanced poll voting, particularly for senior citizens.
The Minister of National Insurance is decrying the state of NIB buildings, and that includes the one in Abaco. According to the Honourable Miles LaRota, NIB executive Emma Dawkins continues to work out of a trailer. and New Providence and Grand Bahama are operating under similar circumstances.
The building is in a dilapidated state. It is run down. The air conditioning is not working. And as I pressed the executives on my first meeting with them, I was advised that there was money in the budget to do renovations. I asked why these renovations were not done. Again in Grand Bahama, Madam Speaker, the National Insurance Building was like many other buildings that suffered because of Dorian. I'm advised that from as early as November 2019 until March of 2021, that the staff of the NIB building in Grand Bahama had to make do with other accommodations. There is still a lot of work to be done, Madam Speaker.
The frustration and expense of doing business, coupled with the extended wait period for some services to be a thing of the past once a digital platform for farmers and fishermen is rolled out. And according to Agriculture, Marine Resources and Family Affairs Minister, the Honorable Clay Sweeting, that's set to happen within weeks.
In 48 hours, they will be able to apply. In 48 hours, receive their approval, pay online, and print whatever permit they need from all across this country. You see, that's what we talk about, revolutionizing the fishing and farming industries.
Now, as for the Family Islands, Sweeting, who was contributing to the debate on the speech from the throne in the House of Assembly Monday, says they've already met with investors.
We work to ensure that each project is suited for the island's development and that the infrastructure and supporting components are in place to ensure that each project is successful. Family Islands are each unique in their own way. There is no cookie-cutter model for their development. Over the course of planning for the Blueprint for Change, we engage Family Islanders for their input. We will further these discussions and create a sustainable economic environment in the Family Islands.
In her contribution, Minister for Grand Bahama, the Honorable Ginger Moxie, noted that after some challenging years, it's time for Grand Bahamians to prepare to rebuild their economy.
The Bahamas belongs to us, and we have every right to participate fully in our economy. This is the time for innovation and creativity. It's the time for boutique resorts and Airbnbs to create the solution for lack of rooms available on the island. It's the time for new tourism product development with 2 new cruise port terminals on the horizon. Grand Bahama, it's time for manufacturing authentically made Bahamian products. It's time to dust off those ideas that you've shelved. Now is the time for our people and our island to reach its potential.
Meantime, Member of Parliament for Baines and Grantstown, Wade Watson, in his contribution expressed his anticipation for proposed minimum wage increases.
My constituents are primarily working class, service-oriented employees. In 2017, with more than 14.8% of the constituents making minimum wage and living below the poverty line, the proposed increase in minimum wage is a major plus, and we look forward to the establishment of a livable wage income, not only in our constituency, but in the country at large.
Member of Parliament for St. Anne's, Adrian White's calling for a show of bipartisanship in an effort to decrease vaccine hesitancy. It's the suggestion the opposition MP put forth in the House of Assembly as polarizing views surrounding vaccines continue. Noting the impact COVID-19 has left on his constituency and even his family, White believes the only true way to put the pandemic behind us is to continue to encourage Bahamians to get vaccinated.
We must look at this time in our nation's history where we were challenged as a people and stand together now in this honorable House and in our respective constituencies, in our communities, and in our neighborhoods and in our homes. Madam Speaker, we must commit to ending the COVID-19 health crisis, each side of this honorable House needs to encourage all of the citizens and residents to get vaccinated. Until we have the health crisis behind us and only our growing economy blossoming in front of us.
This portion of the news was brought to you by McDonald's. McDonald's, I'm loving it.
Having a policy with Bahama Health is more than just health insurance. It's about feeling good knowing that your health and wellness is covered. It's about the confidence you feel knowing that your card is accepted by over 50 pharmacies and 400 local doctors. It's about peace of mind, knowing that when you travel, you have comprehensive coverage and our overseas partner is just a phone call away. It's about the security you feel, knowing that you're an important part of the family.
Join the family. Life is better with Rubis Rewards. Just fuel up and swipe for your chance to win free fuel, cash back in our stores, restaurant and store discounts from our partners, plus prizes and surprises. It doesn't get better than this. Your Rubis Reward tag is free at every Rubis service station in New Providence. Get yours today. Rubis, it's just better.
Imagine what it would be like if there wasn't a referee. That's why we have a referee to make sure that we all play fair. As an independent regulator, IRCA has been working with consumers and service providers since 2009 to ensure that the regulated sectors are well managed and that everyone's interests are fairly represented. That way, we all get to play on an even playing field. IRCA, improving lives through effective utilities regulation.
We elevate, elevate, we elevate, elevate, we elevate, elevate, elevate.
We are back on Abaco, where the work is ongoing and the progress is remarkable. Through our fiber to the home upgrades, Abaco is feeling elevated.
Well, over the past 2 years from I guess on the onset of Dorian, we've come a long way in BTC from our fiber being laid on the side of the highway to where it's at now, that's being buried underground from Foxtown all the way into Sandy Point. Now it's underground. And from that portion of it to our FTTH network that we've been rolling out now, that everyone is raving and ranting about, that how good it is compared to what we used to offer and what happened after Dorian to where we're at now. Right now we're inside of Central Pines. We're building, actually completed Central Pines. We're in the process of building Murphytown and Dundastown, and we have a crew in Green Turtle Key, which should be done by this week. And also on Don McKay Boulevard, we're hoping to have all of them done within 2 weeks so we can start replicating the same thing as we did in Central Pines. The feedback has been phenomenal. We've had people come in. I mean, my phone rings at 11 o'clock in the night. Can you come and help me out? We were walking just an example today, a gentleman said to me, when are you going to come to Sweetens Village? We want that thing, an elderly gentleman, he said, we want that thing called the fiber optics, which is the triple play. So he said, that's what I want. So a lot of people are out there, they're hearing about it by word of mouth, and that's what they want. So we're going to be offering that to them very soon.
Elevate Abaco and elevate the Bahamas.
Yes, elevate the Bahamas, elevate Abaco. And Abaco, we have a slogan, Abaco Strong, and we're coming back strong. And I think BTC is helping Abaco to come back strong because of the FTTH network.
Fiber fever is sweeping through Abaco, one settlement at a time. These are still the moments that move us. I'm Corbell Pyfrom. Be well and be back here. Next, BTC Connection.
When you want to save money on your tile supplies, who you gonna call? The Tile King. When you tile your house and you want to look good, who you gonna call? The Tile King.
Visit the new Tile King showroom, which is internationally recognized as the finest tile showroom in the Caribbean, located in the Builders Mall on Wolf Road.
The Tile King. Who you gonna call? The Tile King.
Tiles on everything.
Unleaded improves your fuel economy, giving increased miles per gallon, allowing you to do more of what you really want. Special additives used in Shell Unleaded improve your engine's efficiency. So go further with Shell Unleaded. Venture out to beaches, Junkanoo, and festivals and bring home memories that will last a lifetime. Shell, fueling journeys that matter.
That onion recall expands. The FDA and CDC have identified 2 suppliers linked to the affected onions imported from Mexico, namely ProSource of Haley, Idaho, and Keeler Family Farms of New Mexico. Additional recalls have been made by Pedandan Produce and direct-to-home meal kit companies, HelloFresh and Every Plate. Consequently, the FDA advises against shipping or selling red, yellow, or white onions from the named companies and to throw out the meal kits. At this point, the source of the contamination has still not yet been determined. Again, signs of a salmonella infection from the recalled onions include diarrhea, fever, and abdominal cramps. More severe cases may ultimately lead to death. November is AIDS Awareness Month. The numbers for HIV/AIDS and AIDS in the Bahamas continue trending downwards. Our Crystal Darling tells us more about recent statistics.
AIDS. It has unfortunately attained pandemic status, having spread to most countries of the world.
Several decades ago, the world was facing its biggest health fight against AIDS. For those who contracted the virus, there was the probability of death. However, since seeing its peak in the 1990s, Director of the National HIV and AIDS Infectious Disease Program, Dr. Nakia Forbes, says AIDS numbers have fallen, lowering its overall prevalence.
We have a strategy to end AIDS, and it's a global strategy that we have been embarking upon for many years now. HIV has been around for about 40 years, and we had a lot of strategies that were in global solidarity with all the countries banding together and saying we would have an AIDS-free generation, for example, or getting to zero. And we are now on the end of AIDS strategy that we've all signed on to from 2015. That gives us a 15-year timeline till 2030 to see us to the end of AIDS.
The Bahamas making equally impressive inroads when it comes to expectant mothers passing the virus on to the child. Dr. Forbes admits that in recent years, there has been exponential progress on the global scene.
Around 1993, where we are talking strictly about the total number of cases per year, we have gone down significantly. In that year, there were just under 800 patients that were diagnosed that year. In the year 2019, there were 133 new cases of HIV reported. And what does that mean? This was actually a 53% decrease from since the year 2010. And the overall prevalence of HIV in the Bahamas now is about 1.6%.
Still, the fight isn't over just yet.
We do monitor this outbreak on a regular basis, and we have a team that has the statistical information, and we follow it so that we can know exactly what's happening with the outbreak. And so it's always a good thing when things are looking better.
Crystal Darling, ZNS Network News.
Turning business proceeds into a charitable donation. The goal for young Taran Thompson. The budding entrepreneur started a company, Taran's These Are For You organization, that assists those in need. Last month, Thompson, along with his mother, Tanika McPhee Thompson, made various flavored lemonades for purchase and donated the proceeds to the Cancer Society of the Bahamas. Administrator Aaron Storr thanked the Thompson family for the donation and encouraged Taran to continue on the giving path.
A lot of organizations, schools, and companies weren't able to come in and make a donation. But this year, October has been overwhelming with gifts and donations. And we want to thank the public for their support, for their continued efforts to help fight and eradicate this disease called cancer.
Taran's mother says the young businessman is filled with ideas. Here's how he got started.
We started off with just giving back as used toys, small clothing to the Ranfley home. And then at the beginning of COVID, when it was Thanksgiving, we had a donation, a drive, a food drive. and he was able to donate 40 grocery bags to the elderly persons, mainly from our church. And then he donated, it was I think $300 to the Bahamas Primary School Foundation, a laptop.
Well, as we head to the break, we'd like to thank all our viewers watching us live on our social media platforms. And just in case you missed the news, be sure to head there to catch up. Stay with us. There's more after the break.
Looking for super savings? Well, look no further than Super Value and Quality Supermarkets. Healthy Choice Soups, 15-ounce, $1.99. Distinction UHT Milk, 1 liter, $1.79. Mott's Apple Juice, 1 gallon, $6.59. Cello Carrots, 2-pound bag, $1.99. Chicken Leg Quarters, 10-pound bag, 99 cents per pound. That's Super Value and Quality Supermarkets.
Today is a day for fun. Today is a day for family. So why should yesterday's worries affect my today? That's why I insure my family with J.S. Johnson, because their mission is to provide us with the best insurance coverage possible. With J.S. Johnson, I know my family comes first, so I take comfort in knowing that they always have us covered, providing us with a great today and an even better tomorrow.
J.S. Johnson Insurance Agents and Brokers, giving you peace of mind.
The past is what drives us, but it is no more. In it, we learn valuable lessons about where we came from. The future is what we aspire to, but it is yet to be written. Thinking about it allows us to plan for a better tomorrow. The present is the only thing we possess right now. It is the moment when we rise to the occasion, so that we stand in the beauty and wonder of who we are. Where our strength really matters, because our resilience speaks for itself. We plan for where we are today, a strong company, a powerful network, built by the people, for the people, because we believed in best, because we lived for the moments, and we delivered. You know what we were, and now you get to see who we are. We are alive.
Public service announcement is brought to you by the Communications section of the Ministry of Education and Technical and Vocational Training in conjunction with this channel.
Hey, Shelly, what you saying, gal? I see you in a minute.
Yeah, I good. Give me 1 minute, let me take this call. Hello? Listen here, y'all need to stay from out that yard there and hurry up and clean the house before I get back. Goodbye. Sorry about that, gal.
Man, the gal last year children you talking to? Why they didn't watch you at school? It's 11:45 in the morning. What happened? They ain't get no class today?
Shelly, one thing, but you always up in people's business. Listen here, I'm fortunate like you. I can't afford one device, let alone 3. Then the internet is be in and out and things. They ain't dead. They don't learn nothing on them computer, no way. The ministry need to open school back up face to face.
Gal, if you wasn't bigger than me, I would have cut your behind. First of all, I don't have it no better than you. The difference is, I can do what I need to do to make sure my children get their education. You think I rich? Gal, care yourself and go to that school and tell them the children need their device. And internet off and on? That ain't no excuse. You know how much place around here the church and thing will let you use their space? And gal, stop talking fool. Because I know you got family who the children could go by. Ain't nobody tell me that. I know that. Miss, get serious here before you ruin your children's life.
Shelly, like I say, you always up in people's business. But anyway, okay.
This public service announcement was brought to you by the Communications section of the Ministry of Education and Technical and Vocational Training in conjunction with this channel.
Member of Parliament for North Andros and the Berry Islands, Leonardo Lightbourne, calling for a renewed focus on Family Island healthcare facilities. This after many Family Island clinics and many hospitals face their fair share of challenges treating critically ill patients amid the raging pandemic. highlighting the mortality rate of Family Island COVID-19 patients, 2 of which occurred in his very own constituency. Lightbourne says upgrades to facilities throughout the country must be placed high on the priority list.
The COVID-19 crisis continues to expose many of the weaknesses and vulnerabilities in our healthcare system. We must do everything we can to ensure that we remain in the fight to protect our citizenry. On many of the Family Islands, the infrastructure must be upgraded. Necessary equipment must be updated. And we must address the staff shortages for our healthcare professionals and government workers to carry out their duties efficiently.
Art education has attracted hundreds, if not thousands, of young Bahamians hoping to make an honest living from their artistic talents. We caught up with art education senior at the University of the Bahamas who spoke about past and future projects, where her passion came from, and what lies ahead. LaDawn Davis has the story.
It's just bringing that memory and that idea of Harbour Island, that life, to Nassau.
With the stroke of a paintbrush, Harbour Island native Vanya Higgs quickly converts into an art zone. The result, paintings of several historical buildings that have captured the attention of visitors that flock to that island for an ideal vacation getaway. The art education senior at the University of the Bahamas says, home is where the heart is, and it's there that the love for the arts was born.
I first won an art sign competition actually in Harbour Island. So from there I knew that it was something about this art career that I wanted to explore. So moving forward, I was able to enter other competitions and win, especially the Ministry of Youth, Sport and Culture Youth Award. Then going into College of the Bahamas, I was able to pursue art education, where I found a love for teaching younger students, being involved in focus, like the key focus, summer art immersion, and also painting different murals around, like the Fly High mural at the airport.
For years, Vanya spent most of her Saturdays with her grandmother plaiting, sewing, and painting at Nika's straw work stall on Bay Street in Harbour Island. And while there, Vanya learned the tricks of the trade that pushed her to forge lifelong friendships and projects like the Airport Flamingo mural with art giant Antonius Roberts.
It was a long mural and it took some time. But it was a different experience dealing with it. It wasn't one of the first projects we worked with Antonius. We actually did something at Bahama Art, Color of Harmony. So it was kind of normal, but kind of different because of how long and how wide the mural was.
Where did you get the inspiration from to pursue a career in art?
I got it from my grandmother, Miss Curleen Higgs. She was my inspiration. She actually have a shop in Harbour Island down Bay Street. So watching her create her artwork and selling it for the family, it just inspired me being down there while she's sewing straw working.
And what does the future art educator love most about the art?
I love that you can go in any different avenue. You can be yourself, right? And then it's this little zone that you get in once you start to do the work. The love that you have for the work allows you to push and create more.
Well, again, that's all LaDawn Davis reporting. It's time now for a check on Family Island weather with Chief Meteorologist Basil Dean. Good evening, Basil.
Good evening, Makesha. We are under mostly cloudy skies. Temperature 82 degrees. The relative humidity at 54%. We have east-northeast winds at 12 miles per hour. The barometric pressure 1,017.0 millibars. That's 30.02 inches, and your pressure is steady. Temperatures around the islands this evening, they are brought to you by Family Guardian Insurance Company. We're protecting you. 79 degrees in Freeport, Grand Bahama, Green Key, and Marshall, Barbacoa. The Berry Islands at 80. 80 also in Alistown, Bimini. 80 degrees in Harbour Island. Rock Sound, Eleuthera, 83 degrees. 83 in Black Point, Exuma, Kemps, Bayside, Andros, and Fresh Creek in Central Andros. 83s also in Artistown, Cadalum, San Salvador, Rumkey, and Georgetown, Exuma, Rygut Island at 82. Also Clarence, Town, Long Island. Crooked Island, 82 degrees there as well. Betsy Bay, Megawana, 83. Ackland's 83. Machitani, Nagua, 84. And the Turks and Caicos Islands also reporting 84 degrees. And your boating forecast tonight is brought to you by Builders Mall, home of FYP, the Tile King, and the Paint Center. In the northwest and central islands tonight through Wednesday, you can expect northeast to east winds at 10 to 15 knots and the wave heights 2 to 4 feet. High tide, that will take place at 7:17 tonight in the southeast Bahamas, northeast to east winds, a little stronger at 12 to 18 knots, wave heights 3 to 6 feet. So we have caution flags in place for boaters in the southeast Bahamas tonight through Wednesday. And then on Thursday, for all areas of the Bahamas, the winds become easterly, 10 to 15 knots, wave heights 2 to 4 feet. High tide 7:46 in the morning, low tide at 2:12 in the afternoon. And that's going to do it for your boating forecast. It's time now for your international temperatures, and they are brought to you by Royal Star Assurance. That's going to do it for your international temperatures, brought to you by Royal Star Assurance. But stay tuned, your extended weather forecast is still ahead.
COVID-19 attacked our personal and national psyche. We fought back. We adjusted our consciousness so that we could wrap our minds around the impossible and unbelievable things we were going through. But guess what? Nobody escaped. That means there was nobody who was too pretty, too cute, too important, too holy, or too rich to escape the mental trauma and battering of COVID-19. We can allow COVID-19 to destroy us or defeat us, or we can make a decision right now to act in a manner that supports wellness for ourselves and for the nation. So let's act to restore and sustain our personal sense of well-being and our national mental health status. We're all involved. It's that important.
Best rate, no delay. Best rate, no delay.
BTC gives more savings on the best fiber internet. It's super fast with super savings in every package. Compare and see for yourself. Enjoy the best home internet experience for all your work, study, and entertainment.
Best rate, no delay. Best rate, no delay.
Visit a BTC store to sign up for the best internet experience on the Bahamas' best fiber network.
Adolescent parents face challenges in twofold. One would be judgment, and the second would be rejection, where they're either cascaded or they're expelled from the home. And that's where we find a lot of adolescent parents, especially the females, they run into the arms of harmful kindness. I find that one of the biggest challenges that adolescent parents are faced with is depression. Once depression starts to set in, their thinking and their thought process is not a normal one, which leads them to make risky choices, such as unsafe abortions. In order to reduce adolescent pregnancy, it will take intentional partnerships between non-governmental and governmental agencies, along with international partnerships, to advocate on the accessible and available services that the community can take advantage of.
Successful parenting through COVID-19. Being at home with your child for a long time can feel stressful, especially when they misbehave. Children can also feel stressed as their daily routines have changed. Manage negative behavior through creating schedules, planning indoor activities and outdoor activities, giving responsibilities, and rewarding good behavior. All children can be mischievous. You can discipline without yelling or physically harming by giving timeouts, taking away privileges, and even giving chores. It's okay to take a break. Pause for 10 seconds, breathe for 5 seconds, then give a calm response. Listen to your children's feelings and be supportive. Avoid unhealthy behaviors like drinking alcohol, smoking tobacco, or risky sexual behavior. Feeling overwhelmed? Contact our hotline at 819-7652 or any of the numbers that appear on your screen.
Public service announcement is brought to you by the Communications section of the Ministry of Education and Technical and Vocational Training in conjunction with this channel. Log on and stay on. As parents, we will not always be present while our children engage in online learning. Ensure that your child is getting the most from the Ministry of Education and Technical and Vocational Training's learning management system. Here are some tips to help you establish your child's online learning routine. Number 1, designate a workspace to reduce distraction. The bed is not recommended. Number 2, each morning ensure your child is alert and devices are ready to log on. Number 3, periodically check in on your child by calling, texting, or FaceTiming to ensure that they are participating in their online classes. Number 4, communicate with your child's teachers to stay updated on your child's progress and online attendance. Number 5, remember, it takes a village to raise a child, so you can create a WhatsApp or other social media group with parents to share relevant information pertaining to your child's online education. Education is important. Log on and stay on. This public service announcement was brought to you by the Communications section of the Ministry of Education and Technical and Vocational Training in conjunction with this channel.
This segment of the news is presented by Sands, the truly Bahamian beer.
This is ZNS Total Sports.
Sports Minister, the Honorable Mario Bulag, caught up with Bahamian professional basketball player Kai Jones following his game with the Miami Heat Friday night. Jones, who plays for the Charlotte Hornets, watched his team suffer a close loss, 114-99. Minister Bulag once coached the NBA rookie and says Jones is a humble young man who needs the support of all Bahamians.
It's very important to show your support to our Bahamian athletes in the early stage of their development and even when they reach the early stage of their professional career. And that is because normally in the past we intend to jump on the bandwagon after these individuals become very successful, you know. And I spoke to Kai tonight and he was very happy and pleased that I was here to support him, knowing that I was one of those persons who played an instrumental role inside his success. Seeing his parents and other family members here, just that support, even though he did not have the opportunity to play. You know, my conversation was to him was to stay strong, stay encouraged, continue to work on his game, and then his time will come. He believes that, and he said, Coach, he'll continue doing what he have to do. You know, he still calls me Coach, and I just believe it's very important, not only for Kai, but also for Michael, Stewart, and the rest.
The sports minister says you should expect to see sports return with a bang, as there are a number of sporting events on the horizon.
First of all, let me say that November is Sports Month. It's celebrated as Sports Month in the Bahamas. And because of the major sporting events that will take place, which is Battle of Atlantis, the Gombe Shootout, and a few others, that helps us launch the month of sports. And with those events taking place, it does not trickle over to the local market, to say, because Battle of Atlantis is over in Atlantis. And even though the Bahama shootout is at Bahama, still again, I think we need to do more marketing of trying to get our locals out to these games.
HWF Entertainment is set to bring professional boxing back to the Bahamas, and it all starts next month.
December 11th marked 40 years since Muhammad Ali and Trevor Berbick fight here in the Bahamas.
And what we want to do, we want to have an honorary banquet for Muhammad Ali and our very own Elijah Obed. We wanted to put on an exhibition with Quincy Pratt and Misha Payne. We're right now discussing that to see if we could get that before the banquet. If not, we'll do it after the banquet. Right now, Quincy is excited about it, Misha's excited about it, and then we're going to launch the actual main event, drama, Return of Drama in the Bahamas, sometime around January, February.
And speaking of the main event, it's shaping up to be a pay-per-view event you don't want to miss.
We are in talks right now. Over the weekend, we had a meeting with representatives of Bahama, and we're getting ready. They went yesterday. My partner, Coswell Gordon, from out of Floyd Mayweather camp, he went back to secure the contracts. We're looking at top fighters. We're looking at Wilder. Wilder just get defeated by Fury, and we might even have Fury and Josh Paul and Jake Paul. So by the end of the week, we'll know exactly who the fighters will be, and during the honorary banquet, we'll announce them. They actually will be in attendance. So it's still a lot of work to do. It's a lot of moving parts. All the local fighters will be on this card, and what we're going to do, we're going to have boxing starting from 12 o'clock, leading straight up to the main event. We have an exhibition fight with Tank, along with Mike Tyson, along with this event. We want to thank the Ministry of Sports, Ministry of Tourism, for helping us with this. The minister, man, he's really on board with this. He's been encouraging us to push through with this.
This is ZNS Total Sports.
What I love most about working for the Bahamas tonight is that we don't only focus on New Providence. We cover the entire Bahamas. We have a team here in the northern Bahamas that is ready to bring you the stories, the people, and the news that matter to you. From point A to Z, from covering hurricanes to elections and everything in between.
Nobody wants to get HIV, but if you do, it's not the end of the world. Being diagnosed early gives you a chance of living a long and healthy life. Testing is the only way to know for sure if you have HIV, and knowing your status means that you can protect yourself and your sexual partners. Getting an HIV test is quick, easy, free, and your results are 100% confidential. Get tested and know your status.
Time now for weather.
In our final look at weather at 4 o'clock this afternoon in the tropics, Wando was some 740 miles to the west of the Azores, and it's moving towards the north at around 8 miles per hour, maximum sustained winds at 50 miles per hour, and we expect some slight strengthening over the next day or two, but that will be short-lived, as by Thursday we should begin to see some weakening of this system. Satellite pictures are showing some ribbon of cloud just across central Florida, and that's sinking slowly towards the south and east, and could bring 1 or 2 sprinkles to the extreme northwest Bahamas tonight and tomorrow. Elsewhere, high pressure will remain in control of our weather. Still have a low trophy, and also in the extreme southeast Bahamas, particularly around the Turks and Caicos Islands and Inagua. They too can experience 1 or 2 pockets of showers tonight and tomorrow. Partly cloudy for us here in the capital tonight with a low of 72 degrees, and tomorrow we are looking at partly sunny and very pleasant. High temperature tomorrow around 84 degrees. Extended weather forecast, mid-80s throughout the cycle, mid-70s during the nighttime. But we will see some showers and thunderstorms return to the forecast area beginning Thursday night, and that will carry over into Friday, when we expect another frontal system to push through late on Friday. That will bring some change in our weather over the weekend, so you can expect some slightly milder temperatures.
Well, thanks, Basil. That does it for the Bahamas tonight. Thank you for continuing to make ZNS your first choice for news and information. Only the Sun covers the Bahamas better than ZNS. And as we celebrate our 44th year of television broadcasting, It feels great to be your home. From all of us here at ZNS, thank you for watching and good night.
This public service announcement has been brought to you by the Bahamas National Trust in conjunction with the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas.
For 60 years, we have been here, the voice of the environment. Here, speaking up